G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel, another video, another black pine, and it's autumn in Melbourne, and it's all about bud selection, needle plucking, your black pines that are in refinement stage. Now, this black pine, you've seen it, if you've been following my channel for a while, there's a number of, there's quite a few, there's probably 2 or 3 videos on this tree. Once was a styling one, then another time was bud selection, and a December one would have been how I cut the candles. So it's hopefully following the process of, you pretty much work on pines twice a year, I'd say, at minimum, the ones in refinement anyway. I think autumn's a great time to actually, or both times are great actually to, so for autumn, for example, it's a great time to do the bud selection, needle pluck, and then style as well. So you can do 2 things, you can do a lot of things in one go. And December is when or in summer, for the northern hemisphere in summer is when you cut all the candles off. So if I'm going through that process in December here in summer, I've cut all the candles off. Now I am at that point where we cut off. There's multiple new buds, multiple new candles, multiple new bits of growth, and now it's all about cutting back to only two buds, and this tree has I had a quick look and it's done quite well in terms of how many buds at the one point, but because this was quite a kind of renewish tree that I was starting the refinement stage, I was expecting a lot of budding, and that's what I've got. I've also noticed some of the wires started cutting in here and there, so we might have to do a bit of a rewiring later on. But what I've also noticed, this tree, I think I picked somewhere in here is the front, which looks really nice. It's got a huge base and it looks really good from that end. We want to start doing a lot of cleanup work on this tree. And the bit that's I need to factor in this year, and I'll talk about it right now before I do the bud selection, is the apex here. Now, because it's been cut back, just a big stump being cut off, I need to regrow the apex. Now, the problem is this apex, I bent it, then it's just got a bit of foliage here, hasn't really fattened up much. So even though there's actually quite a few, there's probably 1, 5, 6, there's like 8 or 9 from one cut spot right there. It's not going to work having all those in one spot. I will still do bud selection back to 2, but what I'm planning to do is not cut that candle in December. I'm not going to cut at all this apex in December coming. I will cut it back now because I don't want the big whirl to happen, but I'm not going to cut. So once this establishes, I'm going to have 1 and 2. So when I do that, I'm just going to let at least the big tall one grow. Alright, the reason I want it to just go is I want to create a fat apex quite quickly, or really quickly. So I need to let this go, but I can't let 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 of them go. It's just going to create that big ugly whirl. I want to still maintain the one big one with the side one big, but I'm just going to let it grow one big one so I can really fatten it up quickly hopefully in one season. Feed it heavily and we'll see how it goes. But this is all about bud selection, needle plucking. So I will come in and show you close-ups. I think that's the only way this works really well, and there's lots of areas that I can do that on. So I'll start with this area, but I'll bring the camera in. Alright, so hopefully we're on this section here. And we are, so that's good. So I will show you how this happens. Let's have a look at what we can see. Now I'll try and show you. I cut it there. Hopefully you can see there. That's where I cut the candle in December. Bang, cut off. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 in the one spot. I think you can kind of see all those. 1, 2, you can see they're all over the place. Fantastic, that's great. I think the reason why we get so many in the one spot is this tree still in that kind of early stages of refinement. So it's got all this energy. It doesn't have all these branches back here to fill out, but it's all got all this energy here, so it shoots it all back into here. I have gotten some good back budding in here, which is great, which we'll use that and we'll keep those. But for now, what do we deal with in this area for refinement stage? So we've got 6 to deal with, and I'll show you what I do. Firstly, if I'm going to have the wire, I pretend the branch is there and that's where I'm going to have it. Firstly, I'll go, okay, anything that's down, which is this one, gets cut off. Okay. Anything that's growing up directly gets cut off. There's actually 2 there. So off, off, straight off. Now I keep saying in my videos, if you can just do this, the needle plucking is a bit more harder, but if you can just do this, it's a huge benefit to the tree. Now I've got, how many do we have left? We've got one. Is that one in there too? Yeah, so there's even a smaller one in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like this one because it's going down, so we'll get rid of him. So we've got now 1, 2, 3. Now I've got a choice to make. This is a bit stronger, and these two are about the same same strength. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut back to the two that are the same strength. So now I've got 2, and this is what I've just done. All those 6 have been reduced to 2. Now I've got the 2 that will grow. So you can see I'm starting to form my first branch, and then forks off into 2. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. So that's very important. That's really all we're trying to do here. Now the needle plucking is more about, you know, cleaning up or making sure that what you're left with is about the same amount of needles on each bud, which is, sometimes they say, you know, 8 to 10 pairs or something like that. I just gauge it on if it's really heavy and there's a lot there, it takes them off. This is about nice to have. These are about normal. There are some old needles that I just leave on because they've got lots of energy and hormones in there. So we'll just leave them on. Don't take all of them off. But I just roughly say, okay, that looks about right. That looks about enough. And then I try and base that one on all the other ones that I'm doing. That's about the same. That's about the same. That's about the same. You can count if you've got the time. You can count how many there are, but I don't have the time. I just do it by sight. Also, I try and pluck anything that's going down. Excuse me. So now, if I've done that one, I'm just going to have a look up here because it's budded back because I cut this heavy branch. Must have cut this heavy branch off. Now, even though I've got a nice little one here, I've gotten 1, 2. I've gotten like 3 on the side at the back. So I'm going to take this ugly thing off. Right. And now I'm left with, I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take this little middle one out. So I've got now 2 buds. They'll form the next lot of branches. Does that kind of make sense? Hopefully you guys can see that in the video. There's 2 buds. Let me just check it so you can see that. Those, yeah, you can see that. So now I've gotten 2 in here and 2 in here that will grow and keep going. Maybe one day we'll actually even cut this whole thing back to those 2. That's another option too, to bring it right back. But at the moment I like that. That's good. So I'm just going to go around the tree and show you some more examples. Let's make sure you can see it in the camera. Oops. I'll have to zoom. I'll show you another example. Here where it's right really close up. Now I've gotten some buck batting on this really long branch. It's actually quite long. But I've gotten, in this one cut point, and I'll try and show you the cut point. The cut point was there. Cut it off there. Cut that off there. You see it's dead. Now I've got like, oh geez, there's so many. I can't even tell you how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 maybe in the one spot. Again, same thing. It's just there's so much energy trying to go into this tree that where's it going to go, and it pushes out all these buds. So now I need to really look carefully what I'm going to do with this. So it's either I'm looking to look at the overall tree, and I might actually just forego, because I'll zoom back out. So maybe you can see this really long gland bit. There's no back budding in here. Lots of buds happened here. So I'm going to do the big thing and cut that back, cut it right off. Because I don't think I need such a long branch, to be honest. I think if I cut back into there, it starts to, actually, if I keep going around, it's not that's about a nice length to have. I think that's going to be way too long out there eventually. Cut it back to here, and hopefully get even more back budding. Maybe that's a thought. So you can see if that's, oops, I might have to change the camera. You see how it's quite long out there? I think I might cut it back all the way down to here, back to these buds, and keep growing the tree. I think that might be the plan with that branch, rather than doing the needle plucking. But I'll show you a close up of it anyway. What I would have done. I'll show you what it looks like. So that's the branch there. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yep. So there's so many in there, but the same process. Going down, let's cut that off. Growing, all these big heavy ones growing up, cut them off. That's a really heavy one. And now we come to there's one nice one there at about the same size there, really heavy one up there. So we cut back to the two that are about the same. Oh, there's a little nice one up the top, but it's at the top, so not gonna help. So that's gone too. Now there's a lot, like if you compare how many needles are in here, I feel the camera's still in zoom, you can see that there's a lot more here. So I'm going to start to try and pluck a few away, try and balance that. I'm not going to take all the old needles off, but I'm going to take most. Alright, so hopefully you guys can see that. See those two? There's two left only. And I've thinned it out. Alright, I won't cut that off just yet, but I just wanted to show you how that looked. And then we go through the rest of the tree and show you more. Alright, I'll show you another one here. You might be getting sick of it. But it's the same process. I've gotten, again, cut in there off in December. Now I've gotten 1, 2, 3, probably 5 in there. Now we want to decide which ones we're going to keep. So I always try and think of, I try and create these two nice even side ones, side either side. And I think again that's on the top, and that little one's on the top, and that's on the top. Nothing growing down. Oh, there's a little one growing down. We don't want that. And we're left with 2 even ones on the side. I'll get rid of you too because we don't need you. I'm left with pretty much 2 even ones on the side. So you can see that again. Let's needle pluck a little bit to thin it out because the other ones should be about the same as the other ones. So hopefully you guys can see that. Nice, another 2. Take a few more needles off. And there you go. I'm just going to keep going through the whole tree and I'll finish it off and I'll show you what it is, but that's pretty much the same process. I might show you some areas that are more, I don't know, there's something interesting with those areas and I'll come back and show you that as well. Alright, and sometimes I just want to show you this one. It's very unusual, or not unusual, but it might confuse people. So it's very hard to show probably, but I'll try and explain. I'll cut it here, had some buds all over, but I've got a small one here and a small one here, but then I've got a really strong one in the middle. People are obviously tempted, keep the strong one, we want all the strong. No, you don't want to do that. You want to keep them 2 smaller ones, keep them more even, keep them more well spread, and you keep balance. So we take the big middle one out, okay, and we leave the 2 smaller ones. Okay, hopefully, you know, if you come across those, you know, do just remember that. I think that's important as well. Don't be tempted to keep the really big heavy one if you don't need it. There's no need for it if you've got 2 nice smaller ones instead. Okay, they give you much more future growth and interest in the tree. Okay, I'll trying to find something else interesting. Okay, so I've gone throughout the whole tree except for this. I'll leave that for a minute. Just want to show you how I do it. But I've pretty much done that bud selection back to 2. I did find in a lot of areas it was 6, 7 to 10. That's huge. But that obviously, as I explained, I think that's to do with all the energy this tree had when I cut it back. It had so much energy that it had to go somewhere. It had to go to that cut spot. But now there's a couple of problem areas in this tree, especially it's mainly at the top. There's a really heavy branch in here that I can't do anything about just yet, but let's see how we deal with that in the future. I've had a nice little short branch anyway, short little buds, cut them back right back to the short buds. One thing I didn't really explain is, let's say I was working at the tip of the branch. Remember, I left this branch on and I cut to the smallest 2. Now, obviously that's right at the tip, and I cut right back to the smallest 2. If I had an inner branch and a closer branch, I'll show you what I mean. Maybe I can show you this one. So this branch comes out. I'm trying to zoom in. I'll try to show you. Let's see how we go. So I'm trying to do this branch. Yeah, you can see that. Cool. So at the tip of the branch, I've cut to the smallest 2. But then on the bud that's on the branch that's on the inside or closer to the trunk, I didn't cut to the smallest two, I cut to the stronger two. Now, my thinking, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I'm trying to encourage the inner buds to grow stronger and catch up to the outer buds. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right, but I'm not sure 100%, but that's my thinking. I want to keep the inner bud stronger, so maybe eventually that inner branch can replace this one, you know. So that's my thinking. So I wouldn't cut to the smaller one, I cut to the longer ones. Because this tree is uneven still, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to even it out in a way, give the inner buds more strength to catch up to the outer buds. So that was one thing I forgot to mention, I did throughout the tree. Coming back to here, yeah, so one thing also, start at the top when you do your bud selection needle plucking and work your way down. I just started down here so I can show you guys a bit easier. But yeah, so I've just done as much cleanup as I can. I haven't done any wiring, cut off branches. I want to look at that carefully before I cut anything off, so I might do another video on the next phase of this tree, which is a good time to look at it. But let's have a look at this apex here. Sorry guys, I forgot to zoom out when I spun the tree around, but I do, as I said, what I just said was pretty much start at the top and work your way down. When you do bud selection needle plucking, it contains the mess and keeps it nice and clean. And the tree's pretty much all even, pretty much from my eyesight, looks pretty even without having to go and count needles and so on. I know some areas may be a little bit longer, so I might just go back through it and pluck a few more out. But if you don't have time like me, you know, you want to do as much as you can in the shortest amount of time. It's how much time you invest. I wish I could invest more time, but you can't do that, unfortunately. So let's have a look at this apex, which I haven't touched yet. Hoping you guys can see that apex. Let me just check. Yep, you can. So what I was saying is there's actually a big cut-off point at the back, and I need this trunk to catch up to the rest. So although I put a big bend in it, I've noticed it hasn't really cut in yet because it's spending too much energy with all these multiple buds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back to 2, as always, but I'm going to let that candle grow in the future. So I'm not really fussed which 2, but I'm going to try and keep the strongest 2. Probably want to keep this guy. This guy looks like the strongest. And I might want to keep a side branch, so it depends which way I want to go. Maybe I'll keep that side because there's branches on this side, so I might keep one on that side. I might do that one. So I might leave this one and this one. It's going to look a little naked, but hoping you can see what. I'm just going to pluck some of these off. So now my thinking is I want this to really shoot up. This will be a side one. Hopefully we can keep the side branch going as well. So now we've got 2. That's going to grow. That's going to thicken up this twisty bit. I've got lots of buds in the lower part. So you never know what we can do. You never know what back budding we can get. So if I let that grow heavily and let it go, don't cut the candle next year. Just let it grow. Let's come back in a year's time and see where this has ended up being, how big it's gotten, how thick this area's gotten. Because I really want to fatten up this trunk, this apex. There's no point. This tree really needs a stronger apex, and that's what we're going to try and do. So that's the last bit of this video, and that's the last bit of that bud selection. But I might do a restyling of this tree and cut back further this tree because I think it's a bit too wide. But we'll see how we go. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope it's a nice little lesson to learn, and hope you guys keep following my videos. Thanks guys, bye.